Tell me what you say now. Tell me what you say, come again. If you cannot stay down, then you do not have to pretend like there is
Hello,
no
beautiful
way.
people, and welcome back to my channel, Simply Kee Samone. If you are new here, I want to say welcome, and if you're returning, I want to say welcome back. Here on my channel, I talk all things mindset, growth, and lifestyle, and today I'm going to be diving into and sharing with you all my experience in therapy as a Black woman, as a millennial, as someone who is quickly approaching their 30s and is just really into personal development, mindset elevation, and just growing to be the woman that I know that I can be, the woman that I've always wanted to be. I really wanted to talk about this topic because I feel like although it is talked about a lot in media, just in my personal experience, when I've talked to people around my age about it, you know, above and below, maybe they have been in therapy, maybe they haven't, but there are some things that I feel like that I've really learned that have benefited me. And whether you have been in therapy, whether you're in therapy now, or whether you're planning to go on it in the future, here's just some things that I have learned personally that I feel like have really benefited me. And if you feel like that any of these things that you want to tap into, then you may want to consider going to therapy yourself. Either way, I'm here to share my experience and just help someone else. So if you are interested and curious just to hear the things that I've learned and just my own personal experience, then sit back, relax, grab you some water, wine, or kombucha, and let's just hop into today's video. Alrighty, so welcome back to another one of my mindset chit chat videos. I've been loving doing these, but today I'm just going to dive into just my personal experience in therapy, things that I've learned, and just some takeaways that I would like to share with you all, just in case you may be going through anything, or you're thinking about getting this therapy, or you've been in therapy in the past and you felt like that it wasn't for you. We're just going to dive into some things today. I love to share my personal experience and just help others. So yeah, let's just hop right in. First, I want to start off on when I started therapy and why I started therapy. I started going to therapy back in 2019. I want to say maybe November or December of 2019. I had just moved to Texas. I was active duty in the Army at that time. I think I had been in for a little over 6 years, and I really had a lot of things that I was going through career-wise, personal-wise, and I really felt like that I needed some help. I needed some help. I needed to get a mental grip. And, you know, even though there is a stigma attached to therapy, I was like, I just need to roll with the punches. Something's got to give. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I had been through bouts of depression in the past, and I just wanted to learn more about my personal trauma, how to heal them, things of that nature. And really at that time, stuff in my career was very, very tense. So I just felt like I needed something. And so far, I have just learned a lot throughout my journey. The first thing I learned is that life goes on. No matter what you go through, no matter what you experience, no matter how bad you feel like life is beating you down or that things are really getting to you, life is going to go on regardless. And there is so much power in being able to move forward with life and not become stuck in certain traumas or events that have happened throughout your life. I think that a lot of women who go through things, especially when it's like emotional or has anything to do with relationships or somewhere in their childhood, a lot of those things really, really stick to us. A lot of those things are hard for us to let go of mentally, and being in therapy helped bring that different perspective into life. As in, you know, I have my whole life ahead of me. Obviously, I don't know, you know, what my timeline is on this earth, but I have so much life ahead of me. I learned that if I hold on to the past and I continue to focus on the past, that there's no way that I can ever see, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel for my future. And so I feel like as much as a lot of our traumas hurt us and a lot of our past hurts us, we stay stuck in it. Unconsciously, we stay stuck in it. We keep that in our mind. And by learning this, it helped me to be more hopeful for the future. It helped me to not base my life off of the negative things that I've been through, and just to help me to be more mindful when it comes to how I spend my days and how I look forward to the future and just how I move throughout my days. I don't base that off of things that I've been through in the past. And if I have, or if I like accidentally, you know, fall into a state of being triggered or something that has affected me in the past and I'm allowing it to affect me in the future, it allows me to sit with those emotions and just really learn how to move forward from them. I'm really happy about that lesson because life is so short, and the last thing that I want to do is continue to live in the past, continue to not try to elevate and become the best version of myself, because ultimately, just in my career, in my life, in my relationships, friendships, with family, I always want to show up as the best version of myself, and living in the past does not contribute to that very well. So I'm very, very grateful for that lesson. The next very important thing that I learned was forgiveness is not for others. Forgiveness is for yourself. I've always felt like I haven't been the type of person to hold grudges, like hold anger towards people. I have held hurt feelings in the past, but not like a hatred for someone or a severe anger towards someone. I don't know why. I just can't stay mad for a long period of time. I may, feel some type of way or think about the hurt that I went through or think about the situation itself, but like towards that person or situation or whatever, I don't typically harbor negative feelings. And I have never known why I couldn't do that, but I'm happy that I don't, because I see being in that state in your life of having to get someone back or feeling like it's a tit for tat thing or feeling like you have to one up somebody or get back at somebody, like holding on to that is just really, really heavy. And that's something that I've always been grateful for, that I just am not the grudge holding person. But I feel like I had to learn forgiveness for, certain things and certain people that I may have still harbored just those hurt feelings for, or just been sitting on the fact that I was hurt by this person. Like I said, not necessarily feeling anger towards this person, but just holding on to the fact that I was hurt and I still felt those hurt feelings. If I let my mind get too deep into what happened, like thinking backwards, and being able to forgive is such a powerful trait. Being able to forgive also helps you to move forward. Like I said, you cannot live your life in the past. Holding on to past trauma, it does not help you in any way or form. And if there was someone that I needed to forgive, even if I needed to forgive myself for certain things, one thing that I really like to do is just to write a letter. Whether or not I send it to that person or not, or whether or not I actually, read it to them, it just helps me get my thoughts out, gets my feelings out. And I've learned so many different avenues of coping when it comes to forgiveness, but that has to be one of my favorite ones. I have written letters to people that they will never see, never hear, just getting my thoughts out, getting closure for myself. And every ending or every new chapter, every new season, you won't always get that closure of, having someone apologize to you, or, having someone come to you as a woman or as a man and just really pour into you what you need or what you feel you need to close off those hurt feelings or close off that chapter of your life. You have got to learn how to forgive people, and that is something that I'm really glad that I learned in therapy, because it just helps you move through life a lot lighter. I'm a firm believer in karma, so I don't feel like I need to get revenge for anything. I feel like that even if I went through something negative with someone, they were learning at the time, I was learning at the time, or they may have been going through something, or whatever they did to me may be just a result of their trauma or their past, and they were not aware that they were doing it, or they just didn't know any better. So just having the power or learning the power to be able to forgive, and not for others, but for myself, so that I can move through life easier, has been such a life-changing lesson. And I feel like that has really been important to me. The next great thing that I've learned is about how I show up in life. How you show up in life and how you act towards other people and just how you conduct your everyday life, it is a reflection of how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, and whether you love yourself or not, whether you respect yourself or not, whether you have personal boundaries. How you show up in the world is a direct reflection of how you view you. And if you don't value or love yourself in certain ways, or if you don't have certain boundaries, you show up in a lot of maybe toxic ways, or you show up in a lot of hurt ways, or you show up in a lot of defensive ways, or you just do things that are risky. I feel like one of the main struggles for me were like self-esteem, having boundaries, being a people pleaser. I viewed myself as that person that needed to be liked, that needed to make sure that I did everything to where, like, if there was somebody that I cared about, that their feelings were catered to first. And it just reflected on how much self-love I lacked, how much respect for myself that I lacked, because regardless of what someone did to me or how someone treated me, I would try to make sure that I was always, you know, the good person to them, to earn that good treatment or that friend or that relationship. Like, I had to really open my eyes to the fact that I had low self-esteem, that I did not have a strong sense of self-love, a strong sense of self-respect, just because of how I was showing up in friendships and relationships. Therapy really opens your eyes to how you see yourself. Everything that happens to you in life and every situation that you find yourself in that's hard, although you can't control what happens to you, you can control how you respond to things. And understanding how I saw myself in a lot of situations, it helped me to really realize why I was showing up in that way. Why was I trying to overcompensate in my relationships and my friendships by just, you know, accepting anything, taking anything, and just not really being true to myself? It led me to feel bitter and burnt out, and like I was being used. And in all honesty, a lot of those situations I put myself in. Had I cared for myself enough, or had I had the boundaries that I needed, no one would be able to use me, or, you know, nobody would be able to play in my face, or nobody would be able to treat me any type of way. So by learning myself more and learning my triggers more, and by doing certain exercises and just being mindful in certain ways, how it helped me build up that self-love and start that self-healing and those self-respect and those boundaries and everything like that. When I started to understand that, like how I saw myself, and bring it to my conscious mind, it really, really blew me away. It gave me a different perspective on how I see people, how I thought people saw me, and really, if something is going wrong, or if something is like a recurring event or a recurring encounter with a certain type of person, it is purely because of me. So just learning that in therapy is one thing that is, I feel like, is super valuable, because it just helps you to show up differently. It puts life into a different perspective. And if you're going through a lot of tough times, and you often go through a lot of tough times, it could really change your reality for the better. It could change your reality in the fact that you don't have to live as a victim from your own traumas or your own personal self-image. Another great thing that I learned about is setting boundaries. I just touched on, you know, setting boundaries, not being a people pleaser. There were times in my life where I felt like I just had this outward projection of, I have things all together, or I don't need any help, or I was, you know, just willing to be there for people. And I used to feel taken advantage of. I used to feel so taken advantage of. And one of the things that my therapist taught me was, you know, who told you that you had to do these things, or who told you that you had to allow somebody to put you in this position? And when I thought about it, I was like, dang, nobody. I put myself in those positions. I was not effectively creating boundaries. I was not checking in with myself prior to agreeing to do something for either work or somebody or what have you. I just felt like that I needed to be that one. Like, I couldn't have any flaws. My lack of self-esteem and my lack of confidence really had me overcompensating in ways that nobody ever asked me to. I would inject myself in situations that would in turn leave me burnt out, because I just needed some type of validation, or I needed to be the perfect friend, the perfect family member, the perfect whatever, at, you know, the expense of my own mental health and my own thought process, my own mind, my own feelings. And when I started setting boundaries, it separated a lot of things in my life. It separated a lot of events. It separated a lot of people. And it kind of showed me who really did care about me. And then once I also just, was more comfortable with saying no, or more comfortable with checking in with myself before I just told somebody yes, it made life so much more peaceful. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, and I'm not saying that go to therapy if you want to be able to tell people no and be mean and all that stuff. No, it more so taught me the value in checking in with myself, the value in keeping my personal space clear and my mental space clear and my emotions clear, and just the importance of taking care of myself first before I pour out into other people, before I pour out into my friends, before I pour out into my family. And that was really important to me, because the people that I care about are very important to me. And I didn't want to continue to allow my mental state or how I was feeling to make my relationships not the best that they could be. So that was the best thing that I could have ever done. There is nothing more greater than that. Just really having those true supportive people around you for the right reasons. Another thing that I learned was that self-love and healing trauma, it affects all areas of your life. I know that we see, on TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, even, this mindset chats that you hear me talk about. Before we get on a personal development journey, or before we get on like a mindset shift journey, or before we start any type of journey that is bettering ourselves and getting us to that higher version of ourselves that we've always wanted to be at, it's kind of annoying, to say the least, when you see people that are always positive, or you see people that are trying to be positive or promote positivity, and it's like, girl, you gonna self-love yourself to death. But honestly, it's true. The reason why people go so hard about it, and the reason why people are on the internet harping about, healing, personal growth, and all of those things, because it really does affect every area of your life. Starting my self-love and personal healing journey has affected me positively in my friendships. It has affected me positively in my marriage. It has reflected positively in my family relationships and career, and just the choices that I make for myself. It helps me to, mind my health better. It helps me to just get in that frame of mind of the ideal woman that I know I can be, and the ideal woman that I want to be. And it really just reveals a lot about your life. It reveals what changes need to be made. It reveals why you act certain ways. It will reveal who in your life needs to be removed. It just reveals what you need to change about yourself. It reveals certain situations that you need to take yourself out of. Being on a self-love journey and being on a healing journey, it's never ending. It's not like one day I'm gonna wake up and boom, I'm healed. I may be 10 times better at certain things or certain parts of my life that I wasn't before, but I don't think that there's a point where life will ever be perfect. But I do know that life can be better. You know what I'm saying? Like when you just get to a certain point and you feel like life can be so much better, and I want to be better, and I want to make the conscious effort to be better for myself and just for my future, and just because I want more. Starting with yourself first internally, it just affects all areas of life. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you start working out. When you feel good, you start getting raises at work because you start working harder. When you feel good, you start, hanging out with your family more. When you feel good, you start reaching out to your friends more. When you feel good, you start doing your best to show up with your best foot forward in your relationship or your marriage. So many things start happening in a positive way. And then once you start to become, more abundant in those areas, life itself just feels like it's getting better. And again, I'm not saying that therapy makes life perfect, but it really does put things into perspective, and it kind of teaches you and trains you that you have the power to live a happier life. You have the power to be a better person. You have the power to choose your destiny. Of course, God willing, but you really do have the power to change your life, to change your now, to change your tomorrow, and to not necessarily change your past, but to learn why it has affected you in certain ways, and to learn how to change those ways later on and in the future if they are affecting you in a negative way. Those are like the main things I would say, or like the main theme that I feel like that I learned that was really, really important. And today, how I feel about therapy, if I was talking to myself 5 years ago, or if I had to speak to someone now, or speak to you now, if you are thinking about going to therapy, is that please don't be afraid to dive into therapy. Don't be afraid to dive into your past. Don't be afraid to pull the band-aids off of those bullet hole wounds that you have just been covering up and covering up and covering up for years. Really digest them. It's okay. Life is gonna go on. Life is gonna get better. You are gonna be happy that you revisited those things, even though it's painful in the meantime, even though it's painful, you know, in the process. It is a lot of work. You do have to dig up a lot of things, and sometimes people aren't, you know, emotionally ready for that. And I feel like the best way to navigate that is with a therapist, because you have someone there that is not judging you. You have someone there that is, you know, an innocent bystander, somebody who, you know, is not biased, who is not a part of your life, somebody to cheer you on, somebody to be an accountability partner, somebody to really help you just dissect different areas of your life that may seem like it's in shambles. So I highly do recommend it. If you've clicked on this video and you are on the fence about therapy, if you're like, is it really worth investing my time and money into? I highly, highly suggest it, especially if you are entering the third decade of your life, the 30s, okay? If you are entering a new chapter in your life, you don't even have to be turning 30. You could just be at a point in your life where you're like, I'm sick of my own shit, and I feel like life is doing too much. Life is lifing, okay? Get you a therapist, okay? There are so many online therapy platforms where you can get funding, where you can pick your therapist, where you can do it online, where you can do it over the phone, or if your healthcare or your job allows you to do that or will afford you the opportunity to do that, I highly, highly, highly suggest getting into therapy. And my journey as a Black woman, as a Black millennial woman in therapy has truly, truly benefited me. I don't think that there will ever be a time where I'll stop going to therapy. Maybe not as often, like every 6 months or every 3 months or something like that, you know, just for a little mental maintenance. I don't think there's ever going to be a season in life where I wouldn't want to be in therapy, not just because something is always happening or something is just going wrong all the time. Sometimes you just need that mental maintenance. Sometimes you just need a reminder about, you know, the good things that you have going on in life, whether they be big or whether they be small, to just be mindful about them and to always be grateful. Because sometimes I feel like we get caught up in thinking that, you know, everything is happening to us and not for us. And we forget that, you know, everything does happen for a reason, and that we do have the power to change the outcome of certain situations, and just seeing the light in different things. And then also just for clarity, whenever you have anything going on. So I highly do recommend. And again, just in life, especially in the United States, everybody is going through it, okay, with inflation and just everything with politics, just everything that happens on the street, you know, every single day, the things that we hear in the news. There's a lot going on in life, and a lot of people are feeling really heavy. A lot of people are feeling, you know, so many shifts in their lives, whether it be financially or personally or in their career. So it doesn't hurt to have someone to lean on when you feel like that you don't have anyone that understands, or, you know, just someone to be there to listen to you. So I highly, highly do recommend getting therapy if you haven't. And I just want us to all become the best version of ourselves that we can be. Of course, we can't be perfect, but if there is a better version of yourself to access, a better version of your life to access, why not do that? And I promise you, it all is going to start in therapy. Okay, beautiful people. So that about wraps up just the most important things that I feel like that I've learned in therapy, the things that I felt like have benefited me the most. This is not to say that this is the only thing that I've learned, or, you know, not the worst things I've learned, but I just feel like that those were some of the really, really important points. If you have made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for sharing space with me. If you enjoyed this video, or if you know someone who may need it, make sure that you share it with with them, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and also do not forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on your post bell notifications so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video, because I'm back posting vlogs. So if you haven't caught my last vlog, make sure that you tune into that. Don't forget to slide on over to Instagram and follow me there at _Kee Samone, and the same on TikTok. And yes, I will just see you all in my next video.
And don't take this personal.